A woman wakes up at night and discovers that her husband is not in bed. She puts on a robe and goes downstairs to find him. She finds him sitting at the kitchen table, a cup of hot coffee in front of him. He seems to be deep in thought and just staring at the wall. She watches him wipe away a tear and take a sip of coffee. "What's the matter, dear?" she whispers, entering the room. "Why are you here at this time of night?" The husband looks up from his coffee. "Today is the 20th anniversary of the day we met." She can't believe he remembered and starts crying. The husband continues, "Do you remember 20 years ago when we started dating? I was 18 and you were only 16, he says solemnly. And again the wife was moved to tears. "Yes, I do," she replies. The husband pauses. The words didn't come easily. "Remember when you were walking in the park and the strong wind lifted your skirt and I couldn't take my eyes off you and we walked back to my car? And how about 5 minutes later, your father caught us in the back seat?" "Yes, I remember," said his wife, sinking into the chair next to him. The husband continued, "Do you remember when he pointed a shotgun in my face and said, 'Either you marry my daughter or I'll send you to prison for 20 years?' "I remember that too," she replied softly. He wiped another tear from his cheek and said, "I would get out today." The woman lost her husband almost 4 years ago. Her daughter kept calling her to get back into the dating world. Finally, she said she would come out, but she didn't know anyone. Her daughter immediately responded, "Mom, I want to introduce you to someone." Well, it was an immediate hit. They liked each other, and after 6 weeks of dating, he asked her to join him for a weekend in Spain. On their first night there, she undressed, as did he. There she stood naked, except for a pair of black panties, he in his birthday suit. After examining her, he asked, "Why black panties?" She replied, "My breasts are yours to play with, my body is yours to explore, but down there I am still grieving." He knew he would have bad luck that night. The next night was the same. She stood there in black panties and he was wearing his birthday suit, but now he was wearing a black condom. She looked at him and asked, "What's with the black condom?" He replied, "I want to express my deepest condolences." One day at school, a boy was crying, and the teacher noticed it and asked the boy, "Why are you crying?" The boy wiped a tear from his face and said, "You know, miss, we have a very small house, and I don't have my own room, so we all need to sleep together in the same bed. Mine, my mum, and dad. Every evening I hear my dad first ask my mum, 'Do you have a headache?' If she answers yes, my dad gets angry, but if she answers no, I hear him worry, and then he always asks me, 'Are you sleeping?' So every time I answer him no, he gets angry and punishes me." The teacher thinks a little and says, "So why don't you try and pretend that you're sleeping tonight and not say a word?" The next morning, the teacher asks the boy, "How are you?" The boy, with a sad face, replies, "My dad again asked my mum first, and then asked me if I was sleeping. So I did as you advised. I kept quiet and didn't say a word." The teacher says, "That's good. So he didn't get angry and didn't punish you?" The boy continues, "No. I heard how he was very happy, and they suddenly started moving a lot with my mother. The bed started shaking almost like an earthquake, and I heard my mum breathing really hard, kicking her legs and screaming, 'Oh God! Oh God!' The teacher at that moment blushed and did not dare to ask, but then said, 'And what happened next?' The boy said, 'Well, I heard Dad asking Mum, "Are you coming?" To which my mother shouted, "Yes, I'm coming." At this point, I was confused since they usually don't go anywhere without me. So I moved over and told them, "Wait for me. I'm coming too." One day at school, a boy began to laugh hysterically, to which the teacher asked him, "Why are you laughing so hard?" The boy continues to laugh and says, "I just saw your bra strap." The teacher says, "Leave the class and don't come back for 1 week." At that moment, the other boy also began to laugh. The teacher turns to him and asks, "What's funny?" The boy says, "I just saw both straps of your bra." The teacher immediately says, "Leave and don't come back for the next 1 month." They continue the lesson, and the teacher drops the chalk, so she has to bend down to pick it up. Soon after, she notices one boy get up from his chair and walk out of the classroom. She shouts to the boy, "Where are you going?" The boy looks at the teacher and says, "With what I just saw, I think my high school days are over." The woman returned home after a long day at work, and when she saw her husband, she immediately told him, "Please take off my blouse." The husband took off her blouse, and the wife continued, "I want you to unzip my miniskirt and take this off." The husband said, "Of course, my dear," and unzipped her miniskirt and took it off. "Now unclasp my bra," the wife continued. So the husband unclasped her bra, and the wife continued, "Take off my underwear." The husband began to take off her underwear, and the wife continued, "How many times do I have to tell you that you can't wear my clothes?" Beautiful woman enjoying a day off from work and spending the day at home. She figures that since her husband won't be back for a few hours and the kids have gone to their friend's house, she might as well go and take a bath. She makes sure the water is at the right temperature and gets in, and a couple of minutes later, she hears a knock on the door. At first, she believes that nothing important can happen at this hour and continues to sit in the bath, but then she hears, "Sorry, I'm not sure what your husband told you, but I had to come at this hour. Could you open the door for me, please?" The surprised woman asks, "Who is this?" The man says, "It's the blind man." Even more confused, the woman begins to look for her towel, but doesn't find it anywhere, and then remembers that she gave all the towels to be washed. She hears the man getting a little nervous about waiting so long and decides, "Well, he's blind, so I might as well go and answer the door without a towel." So she goes and opens the door, and the man suddenly becomes very quiet. She asks the man, "Why did my husband invite you here at such an hour when he himself is not even at home?" The man tries to pull himself together and says, "Great tits, but I'm here to install new blinds for you." The man was lying in bed with his wife. They were both tired after a long day, and the woman told him, "I think I'll just read before bed." The man was a little disappointed, but decided that he would also start reading, took his favorite book, and began to read. After a while, he reached out to the woman, put his hand in her panties, and began to play with her thing for a while. The woman was slightly surprised, but enjoyed the feeling when the man suddenly removed his fingers and continued reading. Confused, the woman looked at the man, but since he didn't even notice her, she also continued reading. After a couple of minutes, he put his hand in her panties again and started playing with her thing. The woman stopped reading and was enjoying this feeling when again the man suddenly stopped and continued reading. Now the woman got angry and said, "Listen, if you're going to start like this and play with me, then at least finish the job." Now the man looked at her and said, "My fingers are very dry, and I need to wet them so I can turn the page."
Subscribe to the channel. This is important. It will help me continue my work.